My name's Danae Dougherty, and I have been with Visioneering for 12 years now, so over a decade. And I started as an interior designer there and stayed there all through undergrad and graduate school. And now I am the managing principal at Visioneering Studios, which is a national architecture, design, construction firm with 4 offices across the U.S. We're made in God's image. He's the great creator, and we innately, I believe, have a desire to create. We're creative beings. Regardless of how you're designing, I believe everyone is a designer. They're designing different things. I just happen to be working in the world of architecture. I feel God has uniquely called me to do this. I have never once felt like this wasn't what I was supposed to do, or maybe I should try something else. Like, this has been it since I was a young girl. And at a very young age, I was picked up by Visioneering as a consultant, and I've really never looked back. And just the kind of ethos there of being stewards of the incredible resources that God's put in our hands, particularly on the scale of architecture, just felt like a call that demanded action on my behalf, and I couldn't turn it down. And that's why I'm here. And my goal is just to really help the church understand why design matters in the context of the church. But not just design, not just aesthetics, not just how they tell their stories, although that's incredibly important and we care about that deeply, but also as the church, how can we lead the charge and the effort on being responsible in our design decisions? What I wish I had, 30 minutes to talk about was just the opportunity that the church has to really see brownfields or underutilized sites or abandoned sites as an opportunity to not shy away from that. I think that just like broken people, we can look at these kind of broken sites, broken buildings as opportunities for redemption. And it's not easy. It's not an easy road. It's a journey. It means that we have to value something beyond what the upfront initial monetary cost could be, and take a view of the long-term value of the type of relationships that could form with local communities, federal governments, local jurisdictions, when we say we value this community, this city so much that we want to invest in what is considered a blight in this area. When you think about design and redemption, there's this idea that something has somehow become broken or unusable or unvalued, undervalued, underappreciated. And I believe design, whether it's in fashion, it's in furniture, product, graphics, I believe across formats and platforms, there's the opportunity for designers to think about the underutilized, the forgotten, the unused, the broken, and reimagine what those things could be. And what the second life of those things could be, the third life, the fourth life, that we need to think longer term about what design can do, rather than in the moment, it looks cool for a second, and then we throw it away and we make the next cool thing. Well, I'm interested in figuring out what can we create that has consistent, enduring value, and that can become something else over and over and over again, so that we aren't wasting the design and the effort and just throwing it away. The way I would think about it is, what problem do you see in your own life? Because we all see them. It's like, why do I have to buy this thing over and over and over again? Like, why does this thing break the minute I use it? Why does this has no way to be recycled or reused or repurposed? And start thinking, almost reverse engineering those questions. So, okay, if I want to make a better widget or whatever that is, what can it be after it's that widget? So it's almost the antithesis of what we would typically do and how we would typically approach a design problem, because we look at the immediate parameters of what does it have to do, and it's almost like you need to flip the thought of saying, okay, this is what it does now, but what can it do later? and then reverse engineer from there. So it's a very different way to approach design, where you're not thinking about the day one use first, you're thinking about maybe 10 years down the road and then backing up from there. God created us to be stewards of this earth, of these resources, and if the church isn't leading the charge on being responsible users of resources, then we are not fulfilling the call God has given us as, all the way back to the garden, where he gave us the job to name the animals, to steward the garden. If we can't do that well as the church, then how can we expect anyone else to do it well? I think that we need to be leading by example in that area, and I think we have a lot of room for growth, and I'm excited to continue the conversation and partner with whoever wants to keep talking about it, because I think it's incredibly important, and it's a huge opportunity for us to be seen not just as to be seen in a light differently than how we typically may be seen by non-churchgoers, non-Christians. So if we're leading by example and saying we care about the earth, we should be the first ones out there figuring out how to be better stewards of it, so that people will see us differently and see us for who we're called to be. I think the question of the intersection between consumption and design is incredibly important. I think it's an emerging problem, and I don't think it's going away, but I do feel very hopeful that if we start to see it for what it is, we can together come up with some awesome solutions to how we can be better stewards of the resources God's put in our hand. Just the idea of advancing good, I think that part of being part of Q is, yes, we're a body of believers, a faith community. Not everyone here may be Christians, but it's the majority of the attenders. And when I think about common good, that's the common good for the people who aren't here also. And so when we are responsible stewards of what God's given us, it's not just about us, it's about all the people who aren't here yet too. And so when we get to partner together to be responsible stewards, to design responsibly, the benefit is exponential. It's not just a benefit to the 2,000 people that are here, it's a benefit to everyone in the city, everyone in the United States, and potentially everyone around the globe. So I think the idea of the common good has to go beyond just the common good of who's here and go to start thinking about who's not here.